Hey ladies, how are you? Danielle Cotis here, your new mom coach expert. And I am a coach for women who have postpartum depression and anxiety, and I help you to heal naturally. Sorry, I'm trying to pin a post here, but it's not working. So we're going to talk about that the FDA just approved a brand new drug for moms who have postpartum depression, and it's called Zulresso. So basically, this new drug is going to be infused over the course of 2.5 days in the hospital, and it will quote unquote rid you of your postpartum depression and anxiety, according to the news, within hours. And a lot of the women have reported that even after 30 days, they are still feeling really good. And that sounds amazing, right? Like, I really think that, sorry, let me just hold on, FDA approves postpartum. Sorry, I thought it would work to pin the post. Depression, FDA approves postpartum depression drug. Let's just put that. Okay. So it sounds amazing, right? Like, it really sounds awesome. If you could rid yourself of postpartum depression in 2.5 days, that's just like insane. So according to the news, basically the mothers who were doing the drug trials, they were previously on antidepressants for postpartum depression and or anxiety, and it wasn't working for them. And so they went months and months at a time, and maybe it sort of worked or it didn't, and maybe they had another child and it came back. And so they went in for this free trial, and in 2.5 days, they were able to rid themselves of postpartum depression and anxiety. That's amazing. So I'm totally pro anything that can get you to get rid of this and cure you of postpartum depression and anxiety. So this live is not for me to attack medicine, because a lot of my clients are on antidepressants and it really, really works for them. So if you choose to take this drug, God bless you. And I really hope that it works for you, and I would love to hear about it. So I'm all for medication, absolutely when necessary, and doctors obviously know best. But what I'm here to talk about is a little controversial. And so really what I want to get into is, there's this great medication out there. There's all these antidepressants out there. But what there's not out there is actual real life new motherhood education and awareness around postpartum depression. There is nothing out there right now that is a steady class like Lamaze for new moms, that basically talks about postpartum depression and anxiety and how this is a real thing and it's kind of on the rise right now. And there has been postpartum depression and anxiety in the past for other, over thousands of years, I'm sure. It's just, it was never talked about, and it was never strictly diagnosed as that. So what I'm really upset about is that, all this money, Big Pharma, of course, has all this money to put into developing a new drug to help you solve your problem in 2.5 days. And as we know, there's really no quick fix to anything. So, your diets, you can't just all of a sudden, lose weight in 2 days and expect to keep it off. And even people who have gastric bypass surgery, it still takes time to actually keep the weight off. And the same thing goes for anything. You can't just learn how to be a baseball player today in 2 days. It takes time for you to become a baseball player. So granted, you may be able to cure yourself technically in 2.5 days, which is awesome. But what I'm really upset about is that they're not really getting to the root of the problem. Like, why is it that there are so many people now, or at least that it's coming out, that are struggling with postpartum depression and anxiety? And why is there not enough money being put into getting these moms the help that they need? And the help that they need is education. I just spoke to a good friend of mine who said, thank you so much for bringing this awareness around postpartum depression to the world right now. It's really educated, all of your videos on Facebook have really educated me on what I need to know about becoming a mother. So she's thinking about starting a family, and my videos of just bringing awareness around all issues dealing with motherhood has really prepared her to say, I'm ready to have a baby, and I think that I'm ready for the what's about to come. So what I'm looking for is, why is it that, they're not bringing this awareness to new moms, especially because postpartum depression starts when you're a new mother, right? And then a lot of women get it with their second or third child. So why isn't there this education? So I think that instead of just trying to give somebody a prescription and give someone a drug, which a lot of my clients take, and not give them any therapy, not give them any support, not show them that there are mother's helpers out there, that there's doulas, that there's meetups for support groups. You're just giving them a pill and sending them on their way and saying, hey, I hope this works for you. Hopefully you'll be okay. And what I find is that my clients, even on antidepressants, come to me because they still don't understand why they don't feel like themselves. Why do they still feel this immense guilt, this immense, frustration, and I don't like being a mom. Like, they just still don't like being a mom. Yeah, maybe they don't have these intrusive thoughts of trying to commit suicide or hurt their baby, but they still have that anger and that resentment and that fear that, like, your life is over, that you will never go back to the life that you lived, and you'll never live this wonderful life that you want to live. So they still, even on antidepressants, are still feeling this. And this is why they come to me, because they don't understand. And I say, did your psychologist or psychiatrist prescribe you therapy? Did they prescribe you any natural solutions? Did they tell you to go join a support group? Did they tell you to talk about your problems to the world? Did they tell you any of these things? And they're like, no, they just gave me a pill and sent me on their way. So that's really upsetting, because the fastest way that you're going to be able to recover from postpartum depression is from getting support and education around your issue. And a lot of women who have received the education that they needed prior to giving birth have a smaller window of how long their postpartum depression lasts. And the ones that didn't receive the education, like myself, and I suffered tremendously, can spend years, months and years suffering from postpartum depression. And it's because there's a lack of knowledge around it. There's a lack of awareness. There's a lack of those tools and those resources. And so what I'm trying to do is bring to the world an awareness around this subject so that we can inadvertently basically try to get to a point where we can rid ourselves of this postpartum depression and anxiety. Give the tools and resources that moms need, as opposed to just giving them a pill and saying, here, I hope it works for you. So I would love to hear any of your comments on this. I know a lot of you are on antidepressants, and I would love to hear how they work for them. They work for you. And I also want to hear what else worked for you. So were you in therapy? Did you have a coach, like a mom coach or mentor? Did you join a support group? Did you go see a naturopath? What did you do to help rid yourself of postpartum depression and anxiety? Or are you still suffering, even on antidepressants, even going to see a therapist? Why are you still suffering? What do you think that you're missing? I would love to hear from all of you on what's going on right here. And I'm just going to give my tidbit in here right now. A lot of what you're struggling with stems from childhood trauma. So a lot of women who have postpartum depression had some sort of traumatic childhood to a certain degree. So whether a parent left for a long period of time while they were a child or baby, an infant, a lot of women's parents, like moms and dads, struggled with postpartum depression, and it's actually resurfacing in you. So you're like almost reliving that experience. Again, a lot of it has to do with the fact that you were not prepared enough to know what you were about to experience. So because so many people told you motherhood is just rainbows and butterflies and it's all wonderful, you were actually not prepared to deal with the struggles of motherhood. And it is frustrating, and it is upsetting, and it can be bring up all these negative emotions that you have inside that you were suppressing for so much time. So there's so many different reasons that you are struggling with postpartum depression and why it's surfacing. So yes, of course, it is absolutely a hormonal imbalance and as they say, somewhat of a disorder, but I truly don't believe that it's just your hormones that are causing you this dis-ease. It's so many other things. It's not being ever taught to deal with the stressors of life. So we were never given the skills, to meditate or to do EFT or to seek out natural solutions or support from other people. So because we spend so much of our lives just trying to get through life without the tools and resources, when you're being slapped in the face with motherhood, there's so many stressors going on. There's just the fact in general that you're a brand new mom. You got to take care of a child 24/7, and you just went from taking care of yourself to now taking care of this kid that needs you 24/7, and you are the sole provider for its life. You're the only person that can keep it alive. You got to feed it, you got to clothe it, you got to make sure that they sleep, they got to make sure they stay alive. And then, do you go back to work? Don't you go back to work? Then you have difficulties with your spouse. And so there's just so many things that are going on, and nobody taught you how to deal with 10,000 stressors going on at the same time. Maybe you were taught with how to deal with a hard day at work, or you were taught with how to deal with your husband, or how to deal with your friends, but you were never taught how to handle multiple stressors at the same time. So it's natural for someone to be so overwhelmed and to feel so depressed and to feel so unworthy and helpless and not and just basically wanting to disappear. This is a natural thing that happens when people reach their stress level that's way above their head. There's only so much stress we can take. So it's not your fault that society didn't teach you how to do these things. So what I'm trying to get at is that, yes, this is awesome. The FDA approved this amazing drug, and I'm sure it's going to help millions of people. That's wonderful. But at the same time, you still need to learn those tools and resources, because as the months go on, as the years go on, as you are a mother, you are going to have to deal with multiple stressors coming up at one time, all the time for the rest of your life. So yes, it's going to help you in the short term, but you still have to learn how to handle stress. You still have to learn how to have self-care. You still have to learn how to handle life in general. And that's what the problem is that we are not taught this. We are taught ridiculous things in school. And one of those things is not how to deal with life. And that's just so crazy to me that nobody teaches us how to do that. So please give me some thoughts on how you feel about the issue. I know this is a very controversial issue that I'm bringing up right now. About medication and actually getting the tools and resources that you need. I would love to hear your thoughts on this subject. Please like me on my Facebook page, my fan page, The Unfamiliar Mom. We have tons of videos about postpartum depression and being a new mom and tips and tricks and how to deal with life. I'm all about how to heal yourself naturally, how to get to the point where you can handle stressful situations moving on into your life. And it's all about natural herbs and how you can use energy techniques to help heal you. So please like my Facebook page, subscribe to me on YouTube, Danielle Cotis. I'm your new mom coach. I'm here to help you. Please share videos and bring awareness to as many people as you possibly can. Tell your story. Learn more stories about other people that are suffering from postpartum depression and anxiety. We need to create a community of people, of moms that are supporting each other and educating new moms and people who are pregnant, moms who are pregnant, on what to do if these surface so they don't suffer for months and years at a time, so that they can recover within a short amount of time. Just like this drug is helping moms recover in a short amount of time, if we bring the education and the tools and resources that moms need, we can help them cure themselves in such a short amount of time. So thank you all so much for being on the line. Please give me a big heart if this was super helpful and you enjoyed this controversial topic, and I will see you next time. Thank you.